Well, hello people, and welcome back to part 32 of the build guide 2. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. So we're going to do something a bit different today. AI is all over the world at the minute, everyone's talking about it and developing it, and it's just in the news. And I thought it would be fun to see if we can get one of the most popular AI platforms, the ChatGPT, to design a suburb for us in City Skylines, and that will end up being today's build. So let's see how this goes. So we will ask, can you help me design a suburb? So it wants some specific details. It wants to be the size of the suburb, a target population, architectural style. But our patrons voted for a luxury suburb, so we will ask that. The suburb should be luxurious. This is a lot more information than I expected, holy hell. Okay, so we have to design the suburb with large, well-designed houses. Okay, well we can use mid-century modern for that. We want a gated community, we use some zoo fence, lots of green spaces, we're always on board with that. It wants high-end amenities, including community centres, fitness facilities and swimming pools, tennis courts and golf courses. We can't do a golf course, but we can meet everything else. High-speed internet isn't really a thing. Advanced waste management systems. Pedestrian-friendly design. We can certainly get some pedestrian streets in the green spaces, I think. Upscale shopping centres. So here it says that we should incorporate sustainable practices by including energy-efficient buildings. So maybe we should be going green cities instead of mid-century modern then. I want some security measures, well-lit streets, CCTV, security patrols, and well-connected public transport. Okay, so ChatGPT has told us what sort of suburb we're going to build. Let's go and build it in City Skylines, shall we? So welcome back to Orchid Bay, everyone. So first of all, lots of name suggestions down below for this suburb, please. It has to be something AI themed. I'll leave it up to you guys as to what this is called, but where we are working today is just opposite Freyden Square. Against the couplet system here. Now, these guys are going to have a tremendous view to downtown, and they're ever so slightly elevated as well than the other side of the river, which I think is going to give it quite a bit of prestige, isn't it? So I really want to stick super close to what the AI has told us. I don't want to stray off onto my own design here. And the first thing it said was renewable resources, right? So green cities residential, I think, is going to be the most appropriate for that design. So we'll first of all set that up. So one of the first things our AI urban planner is asking us to do is to bring in lots of tree-lined roads to bring in that sense of prestige and luxury, I guess, right? So we'll use this one as a bit of an entrance, and then we'll come down to about here. And then let's switch up to a one-way road, and we'll create a little landscape roundabout as something of an entrance into the suburb. So let's do a little 3D number. Cool. And then lots of tree-lined roads. So I think we'll switch back to the two-lane road with trees. And then let's just map out a general shape for this suburb. And then I think we'll also change the tree to something perhaps a bit more prestigious looking than the vanilla one. Perhaps a young linden is most prestigious, isn't it? Maybe some jacaranda might also be welcome. I guess we can change it up. Actually, then again, palms always scream kind of luxury, don't they? Maybe we should go for palms instead. Yeah, let's go for a touch of California shorty. We'll have this run all over the suburb, and of course we can maybe switch out for some jacaranda at some points in certain areas just so it looks a bit different, but for right now we'll go with California shorties. So let's first of all kind of factor in a suburban centre, because the AI wants us to include things like community centres, fitness facilities, swimming pools, tennis courts and spa facilities, so we can definitely get on board with a little bit of that. So let's go into some of our roads here, and where do we kind of want this position? I guess the central suburb would be kind of a good spot for it, wouldn't it? So let's have a little look at what happens if we draw out here. So first of all is we want a fitness centre, so let's grab ourselves the sports hall and gymnasium from Green Cities. And again, I know how I want this to sit, so let's actually break this road first of all. And then we'll do it on a straight piece so we can align the gym with the front, and then we'll break it back to that suburban road again. So that gives us our community centre and fitness pool, doesn't it? So let's now start mapping out a little bit of a sort of town centre all around this suburb here. Let's bring this one in again. We have to make sure that we're keeping lots of pathways and pedestrian friendly designs. Otherwise our AI overlord will come for us. So we'll have that on there. I think a child healthcare centre would also be pretty cool as well. So let's have that one there. And we'll sort of piece together this little centre here. A med clinic would also be pretty decent as well. Let's go for the European one, but I think we're going to do a little bit of car parking out the front of this. So let's grab some vanilla ones, we'll pop that on the front, and then we will just simply wrap a road around that with our road length on. Make sure we get it to the right size there. Awesome, and then we can place our med clinic right there. Fantastic, so we use this as kind of the edge of the town centre, if you like. Swimming pools as well, so we will grab a swimming pool, well, community pool from Green Cities again. If you are missing any of the DLCs we use in today's build, don't forget there are links down below to Instant Gaming. Cool, so again, I think the orientation of this asset is quite important, isn't it? Just because I think it'd be cool if these guys kind of had a view to downtown as they swim. So why don't we align the road for that to happen? First of all, just remove this one. Be a lot of messing about with vanilla roads today, but it will be worth it, I think. Cool, so let's bring that one down again and reinstate these roads. Then we can bring this one down so the pool remains connected and then hook that back in like that. And then maybe a bit of poor man's surface painter actually might be quite welcome here. I guess we can always try if we can use a part life pathway, we can get the benches in the bin outside too. Very subtle difference, but I think it helps, doesn't it? And where we do have some of those little empty spaces and lots of landscaping and green space was the order of the day from Skynet, so we will maybe place in a couple of trees outside the pool there as well. So the thought process there is that these guys can kind of swim and enjoy a view to downtown Orchid Bay, which looks fantastic from here, doesn't it? Maybe the Chirper Balloon actually can be like an AI bot, right? Maybe that is the AI in control of Orchid Bay. Cool, so this is the town centre slowly coming together. It also wanted a couple of tennis courts in here as well, which we absolutely can provide. So let's do that. Then we'll just have two of these together, and again we'll start bringing some more pathways around. Let's go into the grid snap here, and then we'll hook them around the back of our tennis courts, and then have one coming down onto the road here, so we're continually having lots of walkability. I think we might end up even upgrading some of these into pedestrian roads. We'll kind of see how the rest of the suburb develops around it. Then a golf course, which we don't really have the room here to do, so these aren't the sort of rich people that like to play golf. We'll also bring this one back down as well. And then we'll also connect it back into the suburban frame over this way. So this kind of creates us a little town centre, right? It's got everything that the AI wants in here. I did also want some sort of high-end shopping, which I guess King Leno's malls is going to be the most appropriate high-end sort of shopping we have in vanilla, isn't it? Without going to the workshop, of course. Yeah, I think we'll go for shopping malls, I think. So we'll go ahead and drop in a few 4x4 zonings for our commercial, just so we get sort of the larger, more prestigious looking assets, I suppose. And we can also see that one wants to be hooked back into there as well. Cool, so let's get a lot of residential growing, because we do have a ton of residential demand. And again, specific zones is going to be quite important here. I definitely don't want houses that are this sort of shape. It's going to kill the suburb quite a bit. So where we have those spaces like that, we'll just do some detailing, or we can save it for a pathway or something. I don't mind some 2x4s. Green Cities is one of the more mass zonable specializations. You don't have to be too careful with it. But we'll still try and get the larger houses in, so it just looks a bit richer, I guess. And then lots of houses looking over Freyden Square as well. So I realise we're right next to a rail line here, but it's just Orchid Bay, so we're going to have to live with it. We will put some trees and fencing around it so it gives it a bit more sort of privacy, I guess. And then I think here we actually won't have any houses that close to the train line. And then we can just bring in some nice zonable frames over this way now to fill as much of that space with zoning as we can. But again, I want to make sure we're getting those larger shapes in where we can afford them. Just thinking we could possibly go for a key here if we wanted to. We have keyed the other side. The only reservation with that is it might look a little bit odd because we're on such an elevation change from Freyden Square. If we pop on a road guideline here, can we just get a little test sample maybe? Go for about there. And if we would just run it, say, this sort of direction, how odd does that look if we sit down from this way here? That Chirper Balloon never doesn't make me laugh. The sky there. I'm not sure. I think it does look a little odd, doesn't it? But I guess it could be sort of cool. It definitely gives more privacy from Fraden Square. Like, you can't see into that suburb from here. Whereas I think if we don't key it, then you kind of can see into it, can't you? I think we will go with the 2 different tiered keys here, you know. I think I am a fan of it. Yeah, I think we will. Just a moment of appreciation as well. How nice is it to see, like, Orchid Bay just living and breathing now? We haven't really been over this part of the city for a long time. I do love this city. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it so much as well. Awesome, yeah, so lots of this sort of prestigious housing is what Skynet asked for, wasn't it? So we'll let that grow up. To address is some sort of security facility and a gated entrance. And I think that we can sort of generate this vibe by using one of the Korean police stations, kind of like an entrance into the suburb maybe, somewhere we have to perhaps show some papers or check in. And we'll just sort of find the best positioning for this, I think. I don't think that's kind of too bad, is it? I guess though they will have to, they can't really get into the suburb from here, can they? So maybe we should actually give this its own little separate holding road. How about here, but we won't connect into the rail line. And then we can have this one sat there, and then we'll just remove that residential a little bit. So it has a bit more room to breathe, and then possible more car park in there as well. A couple little car parks in. Not the most horrendous thing, is it? The next thing it wanted was a gated community vibe, which we can struggle to do in vanilla, but I think a little bit of zoo fencing, especially up against the perimeter of the entrance to the suburb, will be very much appreciated. And then we'll hit the angle snap here, bring that down. I actually wonder if these suburban fence might be a better shout than zoo fence, you know? Not entirely sure. Let's have a little look. So we've got zoo fence there, or we could go with suburban fence. I think the zoo fence is a bit more prestigious looking, isn't it? Yeah, I don't think I like the corrugated iron look of the suburban one for what is supposed to be a luxury suburb anyway. Cool, so we'll have this run the duration of the rail and around any sort of side entrances that someone could possibly walk in on. So that's going to be good. And then I did mention I want to also have a bit of a tree lining over this way as well. So let's have a little look. Can we scroll our spacing up here? Let's go for... Always find units of 3 to stick into with prop line 2 is always helpful. Yeah, and then we'll just do this. So we're actually using the new line tool, finally, in Orchid Bay. There is now a mod to remove dependency on the extended manager's library with the prop line key that we did have to use. So thankfully that's available now. So how do we feel about that for a kind of security valve? We'll have to make sure these leaves aren't encroaching too much on the rail line. Some of those probably need shifting back a little bit, but it's a general concept. I'm not against that as a kind of secure gate vibe and a little bit of security and CCTV for the suburb as you come into it. Pretty simple, but quite effective. It's also requested that we have modern infrastructure and utilities, including a reliable power supply, which Orchid Bay already has. But advanced waste management systems is something I think we can have a bit of fun with. So let's see what happens here. I want to grab a little slip road here for people coming into the suburb. Let's go for... come on to road length as well. We just come straight in like that? No. Let's go for that one there. We'll just have a little slip lane if they want to come off at the national road a little bit earlier. And then I think we're going to grab a bit of industrial road, I guess. Actually, maybe we'll use regular road on the way down there. And then as we get into the advanced waste management facility, we will have industrial road. So we'll put our road guideline on, and I really want to run this parallel with the rail line. Hopefully it's not going to be too horrific. I don't think it is. And there's a nice little spot here, kind of tucked at the bottom of the mountain on the opposite side of the rail lines, that I think we can use as an excuse to include a little bit of sewage treatment. Well, at least the advanced. Well, we won't pretend it's sewage anyway. We'll pretend it's something a bit more, you know, not processing people's crap. So let's go for small eco inland. We'll have this here. Okay, and then we can surround that with a little bit of build guide forest as well. Why not? Let's bring our strength down a touch and we'll sort of give it a bit of a forest border, just so you can sort of see the processing facility from behind. Okay, so which people can have their PCs processed separate from everybody else. Fantastic. Going to sit quite nice up against the rail lines, well, isn't it? We could possibly even actually do some orientation here. Okay, I think we can have that. And I do probably plan for some sort of pedestrian zone to be in here as well. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and include a small pedestrian area service point next to our sewage treatment plant. And that should hopefully just give us what the AI has requested, which is advanced waste management systems. And maybe the service point can be that internet connectivity that the AI requested. Okay, pretty simple. And I think we did actually need some sewage as well, didn't we? Yeah, just about. We also need water as well. Let's do that while we're here. Let's give them a large water tower over this way. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay, so pretty simple, but hopefully rather effective in what the AI has requested. So we'll have that over here. I think we'll just run our forest back up the hills and try and save a little bit of that brown exposed cliff as well. Cool, maybe not so close to the train line there though. And then one of the last things the AI has requested is well-connected transportation. Where we have to consider using well-planned public transport options. Well, let's have a look at what's available. So I don't really want a train station here, I don't think. It's going to be a little bit loud for being this close to the suburb. And this really is national line, but what we do have nearby is connectivity into an incredibly busy bus hub that does actually connect all over the city because there's underground metro here and a lot of intercity buses and just great connectivity into the rest of the city from here. So this seems like a good spot to go ahead and throw in a bus stop on the final platform that we have available. Now, where can we take you? Do we want to stop in town here? No, we're just going to come straight over the mountains. It can stop outside some of these houses. Bring it down onto the waterfront. I'd like to bring it into the town centre, I think. And then we'll have it run around the edge. Come back up. And I guess we could actually probably do a mirrored bus line here as well. And then you will come back into this way here, and you will hopefully come out of this one. There we go. Can we get a... I mean, I don't know what this means, but I guess a richer looking bus. I'm not entirely sure what that would be. Maybe a bendy bus. And let's make it a nice, sort of prestigious, slightly off blue. Yeah, I think we can get away with that, can't we? That's going to be quite nice. So he's going to go around his routes now and start picking people up. And they're going to do want to keep people sort of well interconnected. So let's go ahead and get the rest of this key placed in because, again, obeying what the AI said, it's really hard today. I feel like I constantly want to go off into my own design, but I'm desperately trying to stick into what the robots have told us to build. Imagine this is the future of YouTube. Every video is made by AI. Welcome to the future, everyone. Okay, yeah, and then I'd like a pedestrian pathway. Let's also use one of the content creator ones. Why don't we go for the American pedestrian bridge? We never ever use this thing. Because it actually has no lights on it, which seems a little silly, but whatever. Yes, so I do want a pedestrian path to hook people back into, because over here they're going to have access to all the train and tram lines that are converging here. Look how busy that is. Goodness gracious. Yes, please, everyone. I absolutely love. Are you intercity? You are intercity, aren't you? Are you all waiting for the airport train? Oh, wow, you are. Oh, yes, you are. Okay. This is busy. This is a very busy train line now. Maybe 2 more trains, please. Is that okay? Oh, look at this. This is why we all play this game, isn't it? Right, the AI can wait. We have to form over the vast amount of walking porn that Orchid Bay has. Wonderful news. Good to see so many people taking that airport express train back to the airport, though. That is really good news. Anyway, back to what we were doing before I got distracted yet again by people walking around. I guess if we just snap into... not the grid here, because it doesn't like it when there's a key nearby. Let's bring it up onto a couple steps elevation. Again, I don't know how this is going to look. This could end up looking really weird, but we'll... So it will snap to a 90-degree point there. Then can we bring this down? I'm playing with 2 different Elevated riverbanks is quite a challenge. I really don't like the way that that looks. So we might have to sort of reconfigure that design, probably in the time lapse, but I definitely want them to have a walkable connection back and two across here. Unless we could actually terraform one out and then bring it out from this side so they can hook straight into Freyden Square and then get access to the trams up this way. I actually realised I didn't add this stop back in, did I? I saw this in the first person tour. There you go, you guys should be stopping there. That pathway looks really stupid. We definitely can't use that. Absolutely not. Okay, let's go ahead and see if we can bring it from down here instead. Let's delete one of these path connections. And then how tall? We just come up by 2 points over a key. That's much more acceptable, I think, isn't it? Than the one further down. So I think we will actually go for that one. This one's just, if we had Move and Anarchy, this would be a much smoother connection, but with the changes in elevation in vanilla and the very minute space we have to work with, I just don't think it's going to work. Cool, so let's see if we move a few houses here. We will sort of landscape this to be pedestrian friendly, as specified by the AI. Let's go ahead and do a bit of sloping here. Let's get a small one, and we'll just try and create a bit of a meander here. We do some nice bush line in here as well. Hopefully make it look a bit more prestigious and kind of designed. Can have it come up like that, hopefully, and we'll see just how many people actually begin to use that. And I guess we could also bring it over this one as well. Yes, we could. So what was your distance here? 142. Can we repeat that the other side? We can, but we will destroy the path that connects people to the key, which I don't want to do, because we do have to make sure that they can actually walk back onto this, which is an absolute pain in vanilla. God. Take me back to Thessia. There we go. Wonderful. And we'll also add another one over here as well, so they can come in using those walkable keys. Slope too steep. There we go. Just find the right spot for it. And then we'll end our walkable key here just as the pathway starts. And I guess it also makes sense to make this walkable path as well, wouldn't it? Which hopefully can be achieved via that. Fantastic, and then we'll do a few more of these walkable connections back here as well. So, did mention you guys want some garbage processing. Do we want to maybe include a recycling centre up here as well, so the rich people can have, you know, their caviar and silver spoons recycled, etc. Maybe we should do that. So yeah, we did have that pedestrian area in, so again, AI wants us to have lots of pedestrian friendly areas, so seems like a good thing to respect. Let's go ahead and bring this one over here. So we'll have the AI, well, not the AI god, they've got AI on the brain today. This is how it starts, isn't it? All downfall of humanity from this one Cities Skylines video. Cool, so we'll pedestrianize this whole area and then cut it off. But I don't want to lose the whole thing. There we go. And then I think we'll actually upgrade this main street here into bus-only road. Because I think it's not... Yeah, it's not dying for a road connection, is it? So we've got the buses coming up and down. Yeah, just for where we have the commercial, I think it's going to be a good spot for it. Let's get some more of these residential areas coming in here too. Don't zone everything with residential because I actually want some park assets in here too. To increase land value, etc. Even though the pedestrian areas will really do that anyway. And hopefully the police will be there in a minute. So that kind of gives us that luxurious shopping vibe that the AI specified, doesn't it? With a lot of King Leno's assets here. So yeah, especially this one. That's like perfect for a rich suburb, isn't it? We'll definitely save that. And that should give us that sense of luxury that we're after, I think. We hope anyway. And then we probably should mirror a bus route back, shouldn't we? Do we have any bus infrastructure over here? There is a... There's an intercity bus station over here, isn't there? Do you have a spare platform, I wonder? Yes, you've got a couple of spare platforms, don't you? What route would you take to get out here? If I tried to draw this in, you'd come down here, wouldn't you? Onto this road. I mean, it can't hurt, right? Everyone else is got to be happy. Yeah, okay, let's do this then. So we'll bring it through this suburb. It can stop at several places along the waterfront, and then it can make its way this way basically. Now we'll make it turn right out of this side, and then it can mirror the stops all the way back. So even though the mirroring are going to two separate stops, it's actually bus connectivity from here all the way over to here now. So hopefully that does qualify as well interconnected public transport options. And if we try to hook you back in, where do you want to go? You want to repeat your line, don't you? That's fine then. We'll just make sure that it mirrors its stops as it heads back up through and toward the bus station again. Cool. So that gives us a lot of public transport, lots of walkability, a little bit of a sort of swanky pedestrian area over here as well, which is starting to get a little bit busy now. Great view down towards the skyline here. This guy's paid for a fantastic view, especially if we take a look at this guy's garden here. See what sort of view he has from his pool that is full of rocks. Can we get a view? It's not bad, right? That's pretty cool. I'm actually really happy with it. It's pretty fun. But we've met all the AI's requirements now. Let's go ahead and flesh everything out, get lots of detail in trees, a couple of parks, finish off our key work and lots of bush lining to just make it that little bit more prestigious and luxurious. Let's get the AI suburb detailed, and then we'll be right back. guys, let's have a little detailing review, shall we? So we've done some quick lane maths around the entrance to the suburb now, just to help this national road flow a little bit better, little slip roads and whatnot, and actually hooked in the industrial service road, which I had forgotten to do. We come into the suburb where we have our fencing and a little bit of bench and tree detailing just to help fill some empty space we had around the suburb. Our little security CCTV centre for the rich suburb now comes in, and a little statue just for a touch of prestigious vibes, I guess, as we enter into the suburb. Lots of bush-lined pathways and tree work around the backs of the houses that actually feed everyone back into the town centre, which is super nice, and also upgraded all of the roads that aren't tree-lined into grass-lined roads, just so, again, it looks that little bit more prestigious. And again, big shout out to the AI. Green Cities was a really good choice for this. It's given us that really luxurious vibe, hasn't it? In here, we now have the quay, fully terraformed and extended against the width of the river, and I kind of like it, you know. I was a bit skeptical at first, but it kind of gives an extra sense of privacy, doesn't it, that people across the other side of the river can't just look in. It's very much kind of, you know, the other way. You can only see down, not over the quay. So really happy with that. Super nice view up to Freedom Square down this way. A little town centre. It has come into fruition. For some reason, the bus, this one here, isn't coming down the pedestrian road. I'm guessing it's probably a speed thing, which is kind of annoying. You kind of see it here. It's going to turn left here. I guess we could actually fix that just by making this road here to be one way. Is that going to force you to go where I want you to be? Yes, there we go. Now it's doing it. Yeah. Don't know why it was doing that. I'm guessing it's a speed limit thing. But super happy with the sandstone pedestrian road that now runs through the town centre. And you can still see the skyline from the pool here. At least maybe the lifeguard can. Anyway. What the hell is he wearing on his head? Is he wearing a hood? Yeah, I guess so, right? Okay. And then we have our child healthcare centre, gymnasium and sports hall and whatnot, and a little bit more commercial knocking up this end with our tennis courts. King Leno's mall stuff turned out really great for that kind of high-end luxury shopping vibe to sit in this suburb. And then all of those housing pallets have now been filled out and just grown up quite nicely. Over here, got a dog park with some trees, bit of pathwork, and a child's playground. And then this pathway that comes down, now filled in some of that awkward terrain space with some natural rock detailing as a break in the quay happens. And there are some people using this pathway back and to now, hopefully, to actually take the pathway over this side, right? Because they can cross over this way and then get access into the public transport, and then those bus lines are nice and busy now as well. We'll have a little review of what's happening with them. But this one isn't too busy. There's a couple of 4 buses, but plenty of space on them. And then the super bendy one, if I can find it. Where's it gone? There it is. Grab this one. Yeah, just probably actually could have been reducing the size of that one. The bendy one was probably a little bit overkill, but I do appreciate the differentiation in buses, I suppose. So nice public transport links for the suburb here. And then we've done some nice fence detailing around the edge of our train line now as the cargo trains continue to flow into downtown Orchard Bay. And then also a little bit of industry over this side as well, which we saw, and also gave them a little fire station too. And then there's also a little kind of switchback access road back onto the national road here for any industrial traffic. That does indeed need to come this way rather than having to go back down this road and then into the suburb. And it's just turned into this really kind of cute space filler, nice little green cities, a high wealth suburb with really quite tremendous views to downtown Orchard Bay. It's been a lot of fun. Otherwise, guys, that is going to do it for today. If you have enjoyed today's episode of using a AI to generate an idea for a suburb, let me know if you want to see more of this. Maybe we can do an AI build as an industrial area or an office park or a transport hub. It's really fun. It's given me a design that I wouldn't have really put together myself in this really awkward space that I didn't quite know how to fill. So I hope you've enjoyed the slightly different take on today's episode. Please let me know, again, name suggestions for this AI generated suburb down below. You guys can choose this one. Please do enjoy some cinematics of today's build, but otherwise I'll shut up and leave it there. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.